Hi guy, welcome to B&B Spoilers and News channel. Today we will talk about Happy Friday and weekend, Bold and the Beautiful, fans? Yes. Oh yes. Another week has just flashed before our eyes, folks. So, now we're back to tell you how the next, new week will start in the October 5th, 2020 episode. We were able to get our hands on 2 more new teaser descriptions for the October 5th, 2020 episode via the great folks at CBS. So as always, we're going to dive into it. Let's do it. First off, it looks like Monday's new episode, October 5th, 2020 features some very intense, dramatic, interesting, and emotional scenes as Brooke goes to war with Quinn again. Shocking information will be revealed that will change everything and more. We're going to start this spoiler session with the Brooke and Quinn situation, and it turns out that Ridge and Shauna's second marriage will still end up happening despite what we saw in today's episode where he appeared. That Katie was about to tell Ridge all about Quinn and Shauna's major scandal after hearing it when Quinn was talking about it on the phone with Shauna. This wedding will take place in Monday's new episode, and Brooke will show up to crash it. This will, of course, cause a very heated brawl between Quinn and Brooke. The official CBS description for this latest Brooke and Quinn script tells us, Brooke is fighting with Quinn on Ridge and Shauna's wedding day. We were able to obtain additional information for this plot. We officially learn that Brooke won't actually be able to stop Ridge and Shauna's second marriage. So she will return home and find a big surprise waiting for her. Based on a few other future spoilers we've read, we think this big surprise might be a video of Quinn's conversation with Shauna today where she fully exposes her twisted plot to unravel Brooke and Ridge's marriage. Either way, you can expect to see this video appear later this week. Quinn's days are definitely numbered. She's about to receive what happens to her before the end of this week. The second and final description of the teaser lets us know that a very unexpected source is going to appear on the scene. This surprise source will have some very surprising information that is so outrageous that it will change the course of almost everything. CBS's description for this mysterious source tells us, unexpected source shares shocking information that changes the course of fate. Who is this mystery source and what information do they have that changes everything? This is the major and important question that we will seek to see answered in this episode for sure. Judging from what happened in today's episode, it would appear that this mysterious source is Katie, given that she overheard Quinn and Shauna talking about how they ripped off Ridge. Alright guys. These are all the spoiler teasers we could find for the new Monday, October 5th, 2020 episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, but really expect to see at least 2 more scenes that weren't mentioned in this session of spoiler. In Wyatt's office, Wyatt and Flo adjusted their clothes and she hoped he had locked the door. He had locked it because he didn't know where to dress for the wedding in his office would lead. Flo told her it was her idea to do this, so they would get to the wedding on time. Wyatt thought Shauna might wait a little longer for her daughter, but Flo said Shauna had waited long enough. Flo thought the renewal of Shauna and Ridge's vows would be wonderful. Wyatt replied that Quinn would make sure. Flo gushed about her mother's beauty and exclaimed that Shauna deserved everything that happened to her. Wyatt feared that Flo could outdo the bride, but Flo didn't think so. She believed her mother would be radiant. At Brooke's, Brooke waited anxiously to learn that Ridge had changed his mind about the wedding. Brooke was grateful that Donna was there to support her. For Donna, Ridge's choice made no sense. Brooke insisted he was being manipulated, and she knew who was behind it. Donna and Brooke wondered if there was still time for Ridge to call off the wedding. Brooke felt that Ridge hadn't done anything for the show, so it would really be the end for her and Ridge if he actually got through. Brooke realized that she had to do something to stop him, and she figured she could contact him if she had more time. Donna didn't know what else Brooke was going to say to Ridge. Brooke feared that a horrible mistake had destroyed two important relationships in her life. Donna thought Katie had forgiven Brooke, and Ridge knew how sorry Brooke was for Bill. In Donna's mind, Brooke had apologized in any way she could, and it was clear Ridge was the only man for Brooke. Donna believed it and thought Ridge did too. It was just that, if Brooke wanted Ridge to trust her, then Brooke had to trust Ridge. Donna urged Brooke to have faith in Ridge's love and that Ridge and Brooke could outlive Quinn and Shauna. Despite Donna's advice, Brooke was still a wreck. She believed it was her fault for the mistake she made, but Donna ordered her to stop blaming herself. Brooke was desperate to make a move and felt time was running out. Donna wasn't sure it was a good idea for Brooke to do anything. Certain that Ridge didn't want to be with Shauna, Brooke decided to go to Eric's place. At Forrester, Eric found Ridge drawing at the editorial board in the CEO's office. "Aren't you getting married today?" Eric asked. Shrugging, Ridge thought the ceremony was later and that he was already married. He asked what the problem was. Ridge claimed he didn't do this. He had stopped at work after seeing Steffi in rehab. He said she was fine and that Thomas still visited her. Glad to hear the news from Steffi, Eric said it didn't matter if Ridge had any doubts. "Are you?" Carter asked when he arrived. Quickly, he volunteered to let everyone know that the ceremony was over. Carter said he and Ridge barely talked about the ceremony. Eric noted that Ridge hardly thought about it, or thought of someone else. Ridge insisted he was there to do work and that they shouldn't be doing it more than he was. Eric accused Ridge of still loving Brooke. Ridge replied that he would still love her and that wouldn't change no matter what that day happened. Eric left, and Carter tried to get Ridge's comment on the ceremony, if it was really going. Ridge said Carter wasn't listening to him. Carter said he had nothing against Shauna. It was just that he knew Ridge and Brooke still got together. Carter claimed he would be there to support Ridge if marriage was Ridge's way of telling everyone it wouldn't happen with him and Brooke this time around. Ridge didn't say anything. "Okay. See you at the wedding," Carter said, and left. Ridge looked at the desk worriedly. Across the hall, Carter entered the design office. Zoe noticed how handsome he was. Visibly pleased with her presence, he replied that he must be handsome for his +1. She guessed that they were making their marriage debut as a couple. He said people knew they were dating, but she replied that she would be on the arm of the new COO. Zoe said she was looking for Katie. Carter informed her that Katie had gone to drop something off at Eric's. Carter thought about what would happen if Katie met Shauna or Quinn. He said Brooke was having a rough day and that Logan's wives were fiercely loyal. Zoe suspected that Carter would receive as much kudos as the bride and groom because of her promotion. Carter said that could be the case if the wedding actually took place. He didn't think Ridge really wanted to see it through. At Eric's, Quinn, wearing a pink sequined mini dress, was on a video call with Shauna. Shauna was in a bathrobe, outside in a garden with a friend. Quinn thought Shauna would look so beautiful once she was done getting ready for her big day. Quinn sprang from the beauty of the garden in her house. Shauna still seemed skeptical of marriage based on lies and manipulation. Shauna didn't know how she could do this to Ridge. Quinn tried to put Shauna's feelings on edge, but in Shauna's silence, Quinn ordered Shauna to let go of what had happened in Las Vegas. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe.